I'm going to do this intro in English because two of the people on stage tonight are not going to be reading Norwegian. The last reader, Mieko Kawakami, will read in Japanese, and there will be a translation projected on the back here. My name is Mathias Samuelsen. I'm the artistic advisor for the festival, and one of the privileges of being an artistic advisor and creating a program is that I get to do and put together things that I could only have dreamed of if I didn't have this kind of job. Sometimes it feels like making supergroups, putting together people that you love and respect, and then just seeing what happens. This is by far the evening of the festival that I've been looking forward to the most. We've gathered three amazing writers. The first one out will be Shane Anderson, who's a poet, essayist, translator. He's currently living in Berlin, but he's from Northern California originally. I've translated Shane's poems myself in a book called Meditasjoner over melaniske stråler, meditation on melanic rays, which you can find at the bookstore and tomorrow at the book fair outside here. A circle of sonnets that I really did enjoy working on. The second person to read will be Erlend O, Nødtvedt, whom you all know, I think. One of Norway's best young poets and definitely the best reader in all of Norway. The last person to read would be Mieko Kawakami, all the way from Japan, and my words cannot do her justice. You will just have to sit back and experience it for yourselves. But if you have not read Pupper og egg, Breasts and Eggs, you should pick it up. Magne Tørring has made a wonderful, wonderful translation with an afterword that matches the book in its wonderfulness. And with these great writers, I have one of my personal favorite Norwegian musicians of all time, one of the most exciting jazz musicians currently in Norway, and definitely the best guitarist in Norway right now, Hedvig Mollestad. And just so you all understand the importance and the scope of having Hedvig at the festival and doing this with these writers, are that her latest album with her trio is called Blekk Stabat Mater. And for anyone who's studied literature, you will know what this means, or what this is a play on word on the Stabat Mater genre from the Middle Ages in poetry, and then Black Sabbath, of course, which you will recognize in Molvik's music. I could stand here all night just talking about how amazing this is going to be. Now I've raised the expectations to a level that I don't know, maybe I've ruined it all. We'll see, but I trust Hedvig and I trust the writers. I hope you will enjoy this as much as I am going to be enjoying it, and have a wonderful night. And yeah, that's all. I'm just let's hear it.
book in progress called After the Oracle that's about basketball. Tonight is the first game of the finals, Warriors versus Cavs, part 4. And I've been a Warriors fan since I was a child and been following the team for a very long time. And as some of you may know, they've been a very good team for the past 4 years. And this all started with the head coach, Steve Kerr, who, when he came, basically had the exact same team as the year before, but then had instated 4 core values: joy, mindfulness, compassion, and competition. That's joy, mindfulness, compassion, and competition. And my interest has been to figure out what he means by them and what they might have to do with our lives. So I will read from the piece Joy, which has been published online in an earlier version, should you choose to read it. It's a bit long. Joy. My sister's getting the health care she needs, and my mother is no longer living on the streets. Bitte? Please? Excuse me, I know. That could have been more graceful. It could have used some padding between the clauses, some form of explanation. But as I sat on a park bench on Fasanenplatz, glowing, I was oblivious to any incredulity, except, of course, I wasn't. The man sitting next to me had asked about my family, hadn't he? And I had tried to explain the changes America was undergoing with experiences I knew, right? It wasn't my intention to shock him. Like I said, I was happy. I was happy my mother and sister were receiving the services they need. I did say I was happy, didn't I? Excuse me, But after this outburst, he didn't want to hear anymore. He was staring at me as if I were a madman, and what could be more depressing? That he didn't believe me? Or that now, in 2018, my reasons to be happy are being threatened by the new administration? Or worse, that happiness and luck are practically indistinguishable? You don't believe me? Look it up in the dictionary. While used differently, Glück, which is the word hovering over both of our heads, means both happiness and luck. And this isn't some German perversion. The cognate for happiness is luck in every Indo-European language. The heureux in bonheur is salvaged from the Old French, from luck. And English happiness comes from the Old Norse hap, for, you guessed it, luck. Chaucer. Thus can fortune her wheel govern and give, and out of joy bring men to sorrow. Translation, our happenstance and hence our happiness are dictated by the wheel of fortune. We forfeit our joy, which is only an extreme form of happiness, to the casino floor, the roulette wheel or craps table, and that inalienable right of the American Constitution to pursue happiness has bad odds, high stakes, and payments and steak dinners at a restaurant you'd never want to eat at anyway. Please? Modern English has made its Old Norse origins subterranean in comparison to German's birch-like surface roots snaking along the mossy floor of the forest. Yet we still live as if happiness is conditional in English, that it hinges on whatever follows the relative pronoun or preposition. I am happy that, or I am happy for, etc. And long before I spoke about my happiness to this complete stranger in Wilmersdorf in September 2016, I had learned to believe that joy was nothing more than a category of snapshots to be bought from Shutterstock or a morsel sold with a jingle. Although both subscribed to effervescent forms of happiness, this belief didn't come from my culture or upbringing. It sprung from my studies of the most noble discipline, where I learned that philosophy's principal goal, in the words of Montaigne, is to learn how to perish. Or, as Freud once put it, philosophy's real question is, why not suicide? My cumbersome life-sapping student debt may be testament to my investment in this pursuit, but I confess I never found a compelling answer to these fundamental questions, and analytic philosophy's acrobatics of necessary and sufficient conditions for things as simple as walking to the bathroom. More discouraging than investing years in the Baroque rabbit holes of modal logic and JTB+, don't look it up, was that analytic philosophy never offered any alternatives to them and insisted that once we die, we're only dust and bones. If living was equal with being busy with such loveless schemes in preparation for a death that was final and without reward, I began to wonder, where did we go wrong? Shouldn't we prepare ourselves to die by living? And whatever happened to happiness? Did the lake dry up? Was it drained? I thought this was a protected forest. It wasn't. We cleared it away. When? Sometime after Aristotle had said, happiness is a life lived according to virtue. Now we dodge between the stumps of Theodore Adorno's there is no right life in the wrong and forage for gobs of luck. Even worse, if Adorno is right, then it has never been any better. Slavery permeated every ancient culture, and the American dream was the privilege of slaveholders. As such, it seemed easy to just give in to evil to be happy. It was as inevitable as a black hole. So I dyed my hair black and succumbed to a strand of Dostoevskian thought exemplified by Ivan and the brothers Karamazov. I listened to The Cure's Pornography, repeated its "it doesn't matter if we all die," and dreamed of smoking cloves. I concluded it was not wrong to live wrongly. It would be unjust of a deity, should there be one, to punish me, a fallible being, for acting terribly down here in the muck. How can I be to blame for what I could never know? As for happiness, a total bluff. This, of course, was before my regrets began to add up like another Karamazov brother, the poetry-loving Dmitri, and I began to lose faith in this faithlessness. I began to dream of finding an operating manual for life on planet Earth, a golden tome giving instructions for adversity. I hoped there would be an appendix in this booklet about what to do in an emergency, a crash landing, a burn the body would not return from. I turned back to what philosophy denied, a life beyond dust and bones. I read the Bible, but couldn't get past the beginning. The lists of generations didn't help me to get rid of that sick feeling, which I needed, desperately. Most of all, I needed to cut my hair. Everyone together, please. But wait, there was that other brother, Alyosha Karamazov. How'd he get along? What was it again that he learned from Father Zosima about the Pascalian wager with God? Oh, right. Why not believe? You've got nothing to lose if you do and you're wrong, and everything if you don't and you're wrong. Ha! What a rational gambler, a card counter. And as for happiness, next question. I refused to give up. For all those years beyond it being absurd. What was that definition of insanity again? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results? It sounds familiar. Perhaps happiness needs different tactics then. Perhaps it needs to be approached like a battle. Maybe we should go to war with that which oppresses us and bars the door to joy. Recently I read, joy is itself an insurrectionary force against the dreariness and dullness and isolation of everyday life. Rebecca Solnit is right. It is almost criminal to be happy, and true happiness seems to be revolutionary. But how many survive such a mutiny? How many survivors require medication after the trauma of warfare? Could it be that Aristotle was right? That happiness is not rebellious but mundane? Does that take luck to find? I picked up the phone, called an old professor, and decided to give it another go. I wanted to know if there was a definition of joy that was applicable given our contemporary conditions. After catching up, this Socratic expert laughed at my questions. Some things never change, he said. Fine then. Perhaps I should get a second opinion, I said. From where? I don't know, an alternative practitioner? Long drawn-out sigh from said professor. He repeated what he had told me many times before. It's not about getting answers. It's about asking the right questions. Is wanting to be happy a bad question? It isn't even a question, he said. I guess philosophy is no help then, I dared. More laughter. Good luck and goodbye. The next morning, I got a number from a friend, 172 by Emily Dickinson. "'Tis so much joy, 'tis so much joy. If I should fail, what poverty. And yet, as poor as I, have ventured all upon a throw, have gained, yes, hesitated so, this side the victory. Life is but life, and death but death. Bliss is but bliss, and breath but breath. If I indeed fail, at least to know the worst is sweet. Defeat means nothing but defeat, no drearier can befall. And if I gain, oh gun at sea, oh bells that in the steeples be, at first repeat it slow. For heaven is a different thing, conjectured and waked sudden in, and might extinguish me." This was great. But wait, what about that stutter step in the definition of bliss? It seems to be infected with desperation. Then there's the end, which seems to be no better than Chaucer's Wheel of Fortune. Heaven might not only bring me to sorrow, but also destroy me. I was back at contingency and gloom. I felt very near what I was trying to leave. It gave me the creeps. Fast forward for the sake of mercy, to not have to watch years of senseless, brain-damaging repetition. Today I know I condemned every grape for the hangover it might contain, then drank the wine anyway. Through a slow process of anamnesis, I was able to discover what every child already knows. Joy is not a noun. It's in the verb. It wasn't rereading philosophy that taught this to me. It was my mother and a 6'3" reserve guard turned head coach named Steve Kerr. Sidelined from his team's historic start to the 2015-16 season by a botched back surgery, Kerr visited the Golden State Warriors practice facility in November 2015 to talk to the team and the interim head coach Luke Walton about the state of things. The Warriors had just won 16 games in a row, and Kerr was proud of their performance in his absence. Not because they were winning, which was great, of course, but because they were executing according to his 4 core values. The first of them? Joy. Please? You heard me. Kerr wants his team to be happy. He wants them to have fun and enjoy what they're doing. Not only because they're privileged to be earning more money yearly than the average American will in a lifetime, but because they are able to do what they love, and they should love what they do, both on and off the court. As already implied, the team had listened. They adopted this value individually and as a whole. The result was not only the best record in NBA history for the start of a season, 24 wins and 0 losses, their joy created more joy for the team members and for all of us. It was something so remarkable that even news agencies like The Guardian that had never consistently written about basketball began covering them. No one could help but write about the Warriors and wonder, and it became a feedback loop we could all tune into. The Warriors eventually lost, yet the joy continued. Months later, when Steph Curry pulled up from half court against the Oklahoma City Thunder to win an overtime on November 27th, 2016, for instance, I was ecstatic. The team was ecstatic. Even opposing and bandwagon Warriors fans in attendance in Oklahoma City were. We had all just witnessed something incredible. game tied at 118 after the Thunder's wrestle. Westbrook missed a contested shot. The Warriors' Andre Iguodala secures the rebound. There's 6.8 seconds on the clock. Iguodala passes the ball to Curry. Curry almost casually brings the ball to the half-court line and, out of nowhere, enters his shooting motion. With 2 steps, he crouches and shoots a shot defying all conventional wisdom. He is wide open, yes, but no one shoots from that distance with that much time on the clock, 3.4 seconds. No one settles for such a shot when your team still has a timeout. A heave like this is reserved for the final tenths of a second. This is why the Thunder defender, Andre Roberson, was not there to block it. He was hovering wisely around the 3-point line where it could be expected Curry would approach and shoot from. The problem is that Curry has changed the dimensions of the game, forcing us to redefine our ideas about shot selection and solid defense. His release is so quick and his aim so accurate that statistically, a contested deep 3 is a layup for him. And this shot certainly looked as easy as a lay-in. After the ball went through the net, Curry tied the record for the most threes in a single system and broke his own record for threes in the season with another month and a half remaining. While Curry danced and the rest of the squad celebrated, I was covering my mouth, trying to not wake up my neighbors with my squealing joy. I couldn't believe it. I was insanely happy, and not only because my childhood team had finally pulled out of the decades of doldrums. They were doing something incredible, and they were having a lot of fun doing it. Game after game, we all kept cycling through it. It was like cicadas waking up in the forest after years of staying subterranean, dormant. It was even more than a preposition or conjunction. That night, I realized what Donna Haraway, the daughter of a sports writer, meant when she said, "Joy is the eternal suspension of time, a high of getting it together in action." This is where we reach the chicken and the egg. Some might say the Warriors wouldn't be happy if they hadn't won the championship the season before. The joy is dependent on victory. But this won't do. The value of joy had been stated the day Kerr took the job of head coach. Instead, it's like what William James said. There are cases where a fact cannot come at all unless a preliminary faith exists in its coming. If we learn to live as if joy were already present and not contingent on success, then the weird thing is, the championship, the ring, might actually come. As the Warriors teach, the trophy is yours if you learn to have fun in the daily grind. If it does, your happiness will only be briefly increased by it. Joy cannot be dependent upon results. It must be its own reward. The one catch, though, is you can't trick yourself and pretend to believe. There can be no rational gambling. You actually have to. It's so simple, insane even, and it actually works. This doesn't mean everything will work to your advantage through belief alone. It needs hard work as well. Even then, you might fail. Though the Warriors had a superlative bursting 2015-16 season, they lost in the finals to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the final seconds of Game 7. Still, joy is the first, most crucial step, and this seems applicable off the court as well. At the same time I was following the start of the 2015-16 season, my mother was finalizing her paperwork for her third attempt at a disability claim. She had been denied twice before for very questionable reasons, yet she never gave up. She followed up with the doctors and psychologists, delivered the reports to pro bono lawyers, and was early for every court appointment. She had high spirits whenever we talked, although she was living on the streets of San Luis Obispo, California. She would report about her daily comings and goings, and we'd finally developed some rapport after a decade of estrangement. Previously, I had been enraged or disengaged on those rare occasions we spoke, reserved for holidays or emergencies. I would try to give advice about finding an apartment, a job, or maintaining friendships, but these finer details got lost in our battles about accountability, about who ruined whom's room and how they weren't sorry, but they would be. There was often rage in her voice, as well as desperation. There was also an occasional slur, and when that happened, her threats to commit suicide were threats as often as not. When they weren't threats, and she survived, I became acquainted with a whole new vocabulary of hospitals and law enforcement. There was the 5150, the NFA, the BOP, and their consequences. There were drop charges, storage units, and new numbers. There were the years of absolute silence after I visited her one Christmas and she was drunk and alone in her mother's house. She talked about my grown penis in detail, how she had held it after the catheter band slipped below my knee after my surgery, after its misplacement yanked on my urethra, and then she tried to kiss me with her tongue. After I left, she fell down the stairs into the snow and was found by the neighbors near hypothermia, I was told. She didn't stay there very long. She kept moving. For years, when I never bothered to write down the address of where she was staying because a letter would never arrive in time, she'd already be gone. To the next town where no one could harass her. To the next place, away from some malignant family member. To some mythical land where she could start all over. This felt familiar. I too had left El Dorado County to find a new land of gold. One morning when she was getting on her way to the social worker, I called her as she was getting on the bus. She greeted a couple of people. I said, "It sounds like you've got a lot of friends." "And some enemies," she said, "but whatever." She laughed. I laughed as well. I tried to picture who these enemies were and whether they were the ones she had greeted. It was then that I first noticed my mother had become much happier since she was definitively homeless. Sure, she hadn't had her own apartment or a bank account for a decade, but she had always stayed with family members and entered a complicated economics of gratitude and obligation. A mental reckoning of indebtedness tallied out in beds and groceries and accusations. As the eldest daughter who had been continuously raped by her father, she felt entitled to receive help from her mother and two younger sisters, who had always been aware of his transgressions. She felt entitled to receive occasional payment from my father after he had lowballed her during their divorce proceedings. When he lost basically everything in the financial crisis, she reconsidered. She also reconsidered accepting my offers to help her to get off the streets. She asked for one thing only: love. Now on the streets for an extended period of time, she was changing. It would be foolish to believe this cheer had anything to do with luck. Her luck couldn't have been any worse. At the bottom of society, she had lost everything repeatedly and had found something more valuable. If this is the luck, it is the luck of discovering what was already there. That rage towards the past only clouds the present and disallows a better future. Some might object here that they know this from somewhere. It's a cliche, they'll say it's in some film. Maybe it is. Maybe once you lose it all, you realize there was nothing much to lose. And maybe, and I find this much more compelling, she learned that everything depends on your attitude. Our family motto, inherited from our Georgian Malaccan ancestors, has always been, the only person you can change is yourself. It was our secret family wisdom that none of us bothered to listen to. Whenever things got tough, though, one of us would repeat it. Out on the streets of San Luis Obispo, my mom seemed to be finally getting it. Instead of seeing life as a challenge, even though it was very challenging, she laughed as she went from homeless shelter to library to social worker to doctor to library to lawyer to church to shelter. She was doing something. "The only thing I hate is boredom," she once told me. And that seemed right. My mom was relearning the joy of doing, and I was relearning with and from her, and from Coach Kerr as well. As Kerr stated, in an interview with the Positive Coaching Alliance, we're all in the development business. Call me naive, but I think we are. Since my conversation with the elder German man on the park bench, my mom has lost the roof over her head and is spending time at a shelter in Chico, California, but she hasn't lost her determination. For a while, she had tried to help my sister. They lived together to get my sister to come to terms with her panic disorder. It didn't work, but you could cue up our old Georgian wisdom, cue up the will to believe. My mom is lucky to be finally receiving Social Security and to have the chance to get on some housing listings in a culture that doesn't see shelter as an inalienable right, and I'm happy that she won't always have to walk on the streets all day in pain one day. This is what I was trying to tell the elder German man on the park bench, and this hasn't changed even though her situation has changed again. I hope it will soon change for the better, but there are no guarantees. It will take some work, it will take some support, it will take some luck too. What I'm trying to intimate here, however, is that happiness is not dependent on this, her happiness is not dependent on this, and neither is mine. I am happy to be on this miserable planet, working to end suffering any way I can, and believing that this can be done together. I cross my fingers my sister will fully realize this as well, that she will find the high of getting it right. Together we will. All she needs is to want to. She says she's trying, and I believe her. But like I once told her, and will now tell you, dear listener, not to get all Yoda on you, but there is no try, do.
Spring, la falle de fjell, la fjellet falle. La jage, la ramla jenten, la jenten nedover fjellet. Jage, la stogge i li. I fjor skal fjell falle, falle. Og hjorten, hjort, knuser både panser og rute. Alexandra i hvite det huset som under berg skal falle. Under teppet den volve forteller hvor varme de steiner blir, hvordan rimet på steinene smelter i ras, hvordan steinene smøres av smelteblod. Greiv og svovel i den horda luft, røysrur, aga, regn i ly, volv sier hjort vet ras, gru og stein og hvelve. I fylket i lila Alexandra pilespisser smi, fra vår skog, vår sevje, vår skog, vårt tre, vårt ly. Alexandra la asken falle i øksekysse tunge, la øksen spise sevje, la trevirke tørke gjennom vinteren i ohi. suddeli. Raurando kurrandi sjumana riranum Rauretlar barnum sjukom maunarandi Rauri I trans Sjøhe au sjåsjå Kurrari kurriu Sjauhik au sjans Sjakkele sjåkele hitandi gliranum Sjolvsen solskjerare Rakkame hiranum Rauri I trans, sjøhe au sjåsjå, kurrari kurriu, sjauhik au sjans, rolflettar groandi rusjarstil størur, grautando roandi latt oppi fjørurn. Rauri I trans, sjøhe au sjåsjå, kurrari kurriu, rauhrikan sjau. Skli på sti, tirilil ti på rot på stein, tirili ti og nei, bekk I stein. Skli på sti I li, guste, vrokse, vri, virkelig vrinske, vri I li, vrake, vette, strie, stri, vold, venne, velte, visse, dristig, drift, revne, lam, kaste, ham. Revne lam, kaste ham. Hun retter sitt hår I klare vann. Hun grer det etter med sølvekam. Flette innblåsets linne eventyr der strå avtvinnes helheter går inn I sine enkelte strå. Hvitnevre birkeblad susen, intet fuglelokk. Det grønt, det sevje, det grode, det yngle? Hun slår beina om stammen, hun slår virkelig beina om stammen. Barkedryss av under av livsgnissning og vårens strammede viljers skjelving. Rossaria, horossaria, hører du, ria, ria, røna, divla, døna, vivla, virvla, jadla, bradna, diva, kopare, ketel, seane, diva, seane, vivla, rossaria, hirossaria, horossaria, harossaria. I søri, berguglefjuk I nori, berguglefjuk I søri, I vestri, berguglefjuk I austri, berguglefjuk I vestri, I nori, bergugleul I søri, bergugleul I nori, I austri, bergugleul I vestri, bergugleul I austri. Breen henter sitt, den kalver med kalvedrøm. Med ett vindstille, den grønne kjolens avrev, hele den nakne fjærdrakt, grønnhetsflagreflukt, kjolens festen I visse vasse steiner, et kjolestrøk over fjellbirkskroner, før vindstillen, kjoleriver atter, dalens inversjon, jøkkeles stormlengt etter avsindige hoftebuer og spraglete dun. En kjole suser gjennom luften, Jeg betrakter bjartøygdens flukt. Selv får jeg aldri øyne fra rypen, selv når kjolen legger seg som et grønt punktum på breen, som et grønt punktum på breen.
Good evening. This is my first time in Norway. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you. And I'm going to read my story about the Fukushima tsunami. Okay. March yarn.夫婦がいる。妻は妊娠をしている。赤ん坊が来月生まれてくる。2011年3月11日に彼らはいて、しかし彼らは普段福島に住んでいる彼らは里帰りのついでに寄った京都のホテルで休んでいる。その日地震が起きるのだけれども、彼らはそれを知らないでいる。少し眠って目が覚めた妻は夫に言う。夢ばっかり見ていた。いろんな夢を。子供を産む夢。子供が生まれる夢だったの。毛糸で生まれてくる夢。夫は聞く。 毛糸？そう、その世界は何もかもが毛糸で出来上がっている。水も人も線路も海も何もかもが毛糸で出来上がっている。地面もコップもお洋服も手帳もとても柔らかくて丈夫な糸で編み上がっている。嫌なことがあったり危険なことが起きたら一瞬でほどけてただの毛糸になってその時間をやり過ごす。何しろ毛糸だから、時にはセーターになって手袋になってそんな風にして自分の身を守るの。何か恐ろしいことがやってきてもみんなそうやってやり過ごす。夫は聞く。赤ん坊も毛糸なんだね。そう、毛糸のままで生まれてくるの。毛糸がまっすぐにスルスル伸びて完全に外に出てから赤ん坊の形に編み上がって、私は毛糸の赤ん坊の母親になったの。あなたは毛糸の赤ん坊の父親。妻はしばらくしてから言う。そこでは3月ですら毛糸なの。3月？そう、3月が。夫は理解ができない。3月が毛糸ってどういうことだよ。本とかカバンが毛糸でできてるって言うならわかるけど、3月はものじゃないだろ。3月は時間をそう言ってるだけのもので、区切りが毛糸でできているってどういうことなの。夫は理解ができない。だから3月が毛糸で出来上がってるってそういうのよ。と妻はつぶやく。しばらくして妻が泣いていることに気がつく。さっき階段のところで血を流している人がいた。何があったのかはわからないけど、家もないような人をよ。誰かが階段で殴ったの。殴っても殴らないでもいいような人を誰かが思い切り殴って、あんなに血が出ていた。ああいう場面に遭遇するたび、私は本当に恐ろしい気持ちになる。誰がっていうんじゃなくて、人間がもうどうしようもないものに思えてしょうがなくなる。あのおじいさんも、それから殴ったやつも、いつか誰かから生まれて、それで誰かが望んでも望まなくてもいつもあんな風になってしまう。今日私たちがあんな風に誰かに殴られていないのは、あんな風になっていないのは、ただ運がいいだけだからかもしれないのよ。まだその順番が来ていないだけなのかも。ねえ、私たちとても恐ろしいことをしようとしているんじゃないかしら。私たちが思いもしなかったとても恐ろしいことをこれからしようとしているんじゃないかしら。もう後戻りすることもできないようなことをしようとしているんじゃないかしら。夫は妻に言う。悪いことばかりではない。同じくらいいいことだって起きている。確かに誰かに殴られて血を流している人はいるかもしれないけれども、血を流していない人もいる。血を流していない人もいる。おやすみ。明日は大変な一日だよ。眠れるうちに 眠っておいた方がいい。明日は大変な一日だよ。眠れるうちに眠っておいた方がいい。